Hey babes, my name's Hannah.
And my name is Chasity.
Welcome back to Bookish Babes. We have a special guest today.
I am Santana.
This video that we're going to be filming for you is our best of 2022 reads. How many did you get through in 2022?
Over 100.
Really?
Yeah.
What about you?
Are we including manga in this? Because if it was with manga, 145.
And I suck.
Mostly books.
I got 60, which was my goal.
My goal was 100.
Yeah.
So I did get over it this year.
And then these are our favorites, and we also at the end have some honorable mentions about our least favorites.
Our least, yeah.
Yeah. Who wants to start?
You just want to go down the line?
We can do that, yeah. Do we each have 7?
Yeah. I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Santana, you're the special guest. You can start.
Yay. I guess my first one I'll talk about is Legends and Lattes by Travis Baldry? I think that's how you say it. Cozy fantasy. Nothing too, like, outrageous. Nothing, like, super sexual. Just, like, cozy, warm fantasy. Highly recommend.
Is there a lot of, like, world building in that one?
No. I mean, the main character is leaving her adventuring life to go start a coffee shop.
Okay. I love that.
It's
I do like that.
so cute. I highly recommend it. It's real quick and easy. Nothing too long.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
I gave it 5 stars, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay.
First one I'm going to talk about is Era of Fire by Sarah J. Maas. I read that for the first time this year, and that was probably my favorite in the series. Now, to be fair, I haven't read Kingdom of Ash yet, but I did really love this book, and I was surprised about how much I liked it because I hated the first book. I almost didn't continue with the series. If people didn't talk so highly of the series, I probably would have never picked it up. But I'm really glad I did because I controversially loved the second book.
Yeah, very controversial.
Yes.
The second one's so
People don't
slow.
typically like that one. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of character development.
It was slow.
I'm
Until,
not-
like, the last quarter.
So, I've only read the series once.
Mhm.
I'm going to reread it this coming year. So, we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how I feel.
Yeah, I'll be
'Cause it's been
interested.
years.
Yeah.
It's been years.
I'm interested to see what you think.
Yeah.
Especially because you and I both agree on our
Yeah.
feelings for Kale, and not many people do. So,
Not many
I
people
hate
do.
Kale.
exactly.
But I liked
not.
the second one, but the third one, Air of Fire, was probably my favorite that I've read. Which I
Yeah.
think is a general consensus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Although I do love number 4. I do love Queen of Shadows.
I like
I
that one
really
too.
like Empire Storms.
Okay.
Mhm.
See, we're just...
I'm gonna see
we're
how I feel about Kingdom
the
of Ash.
oddballs.
Yeah, we are.
We're just the oddballs with
Mhm.
this. I mean, which is honestly...
But you guys are not Rowan girlies. I'm a Rowan girlie.
Okay.
You're
not a Roman girl.
No,
Honestly.
absolutely not.
I just think we are the oddballs in this
Mhm.
fandom.
I agree.
The Throne of Glass fandom.
I agree.
For sure. Honestly, I think this one may be like the top one for me this year, but maybe that's just because I've read it like the most recently. But Still Missing by Chevy Stevens. Really tough book, but super, super fantastic. I absolutely loved it. This is my first one from this author, and I was blown away. Could not put it down. Recommended by this one here. She loved it too.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're making that one right now.
Yeah, I've got it. So
Just passing it down the
we'll
line.
see. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's really good.
See if it lives up to the hype.
It will.
What I always like to tell people about it though is like it's not a thriller in the sense that it's super shocking. Like there are no like, you know, big twists or nothing that I was like surprised about. It's honestly just a thriller in the sense that it's like it really makes your heart pound reading from that character's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Speaking of thrillers,
Mm-hmm.
my next one was My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. You've recommended it to me. I went on a thriller journey this year, and this was by far my favorite. So good. She's got a new book coming out next year, and I've already pre-ordered it.
Yay!
I'm very excited to see what it comes up. I was not expecting the ending, like the little.
Me neither. Me neither. The
So
ending
good.
got me so good. Have you read this one yet? Hannah? I swear to God.
You have to. The
Yeah, reading
audiobook
goal.
is phenomenal. But yeah,
The audiobook is really, really good.
it is.
I'll get to it in 2023.
Bet. Holding you to that.
Okay.
Yeah.
If not, I'm making a TikTok to shame you.
You want to talk about shaming? You still have to read the second Crescent City. You promised you'd get to it in January.
In January. It's not January. It's December.
Anyway, My next favorite, I was going to mention Still Missing, but since she talked about it, I'm going to talk about Never Let You Go, also by Chevy Stevens. This one I probably liked a little bit less than Still Missing, but I still really, really, really loved it. It's about a woman who escapes an abusive relationship with her daughter, and then years later, he is released from prison, and then like weird things start happening, like she's being stalked and threatened, and along those lines. And it's told in like a dual, like one chapter is the present and then one chapter is the past, so you get to kind of see how their abusive relationship plays out as well, that like led to today and her making the decision to leave with her daughter in like the middle of the night. It was a really difficult read, but once again a really, really good one. I really like this author, and I'm definitely going to read more by her. Her, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember, honestly, but I know I've downloaded a few.
Yeah.
That I want to get to.
Yeah.
From this author this year too. I don't know if this one was one of them, but I do know that I wrote it down. So that does not surprise me. Speaking of Crescent City 2.
Yeah.
Crescent City, House of Sky and Wrath, definitely up there. I wish I had taken longer to read this. I was trying to pace myself because it's a very big book. And I was like, we waited forever for it. And it took me a little bit to get into the first one. There was a lot of world building. There was a lot to take in with the first one.
And I feel like you and I both are not super into like urban fantasy as much as we are other types.
It's a difficult genre for me to get into, so it did take me a little bit more, and I wasn't as invested. But once I got into the first one, I was really into it. The second one, I was again like really into it, and I was trying to pace myself, and that just did not happen once I like really got into it. And I just kind of flew through it in like, I don't know, like 3-4 days. It was just over.
I'm like taking a couple days off of work when the next one comes out, so that I can just...
Yeah, for real.
We've already made plans that the day that the next ACOTAR book comes out, we're taking the day off.
I don't care who.
Someone else is taking
I don't
care
care who has a key to that store, but somebody else is.
Someone else, we're having a party. I'm just reading it.
It's happening. Yeah. I'm not working. It's not happening. Because seriously, I've got to know. It's too much.
I'm not gonna take our time with that one, I guess.
I'm not gonna take my time with any more Sarah books. I can't do it. I cannot do it no matter what I do. Even with Silver Flames, when Silver Flames came out, I was like, I don't know when I'm gonna get the next one. I need to take. It didn't happen.
Well, also, like, I feel like her books, so many people read them, so spoilers are so hard to miss.
I'm so surprised that you haven't spoiled yourself for Crescent City yet.
Girl,
somebody did fucking spoil Crescent City for me, and let me tell you, if I ever see you in person, it's fucking on.
My God.
It's fucking on.
Was it somebody that you know?
No.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying.
Facebook group?
Yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, all the
and I had the notifications turned off. Like, I had them silenced and
luckily, all the TikToks I had, they all had like the spoiler warning, because it came out and I hadn't even read the first one yet. So I was literally just scrolling past them as fast as I could.
No, this dickhead literally just put a quote, like the last quote of the book, just literally as their status in the fucking group.
It was not spoiled for me.
Such an asshole.
And I wish I would have recorded myself. Like, you could have given me some warning that there was like a big part coming up, because I wish I would have like turned on my camera.
No.
Because the way I can't even say anything else without spoiling it. But
so do I need to record myself when I?
You do.
The last chapter.
The last chapter. Turn the camera on.
Yes, please.
Okay.
We would love that.
It's a very action-packed book, but like the last chapter, we need your reaction.
We do.
Got it.
Live.
Absolutely. My next read was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I am a slut for V.E. Schwab.
We were just talking about this earlier.
I love her to death. And I hadn't read this one. And I blew through it so quickly. And it's so good. But at the end, I felt so lonely. Just, like, yeah. Because I was like, wow. The ending is just... Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm gonna just put that back on the shelf and just think about it. And I sat there and I thought about it. And it was so good, though. And I'm so excited to just see her. I think she's working on the next Darker Shade of Magic book. And everything I've read by her has been a banger. So I'm excited to see what's next.
You've like even read her like middle grade series, right?
I did read the City of Ghosts last year for our reading challenge. I read all 3 of them. I blew through them. And then I read Gallant this year.
And that's young
which I
adult,
also,
right?
yeah, that one's
I have that
YA.
one too.
The only ones I haven't read, I'm currently reading Vicious because I haven't read that. So I'm currently reading
That's
that
the one
one.
I've heard of. That and Addie
Yes.
LaRue.
And The Near Witch, I haven't read that one, but I
I
have.
have the Addie LaRue and which one, Vicious?
Yeah.
No,
Darker Shade of Magic,
Darker Shade
because you
of
got the
Magic.
collector's edition.
Mhm. I'm gonna read
That
those.
one's my favorite.
Those two this year. I'm gonna read.
Please, I need someone else to join me on this. Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
session.
Stop before I just like drool.
Before this becomes like a V.E. Schwab video.
I mean, someone else should get the spotlight eventually, right?
Right? And have Sarah J. Maas forever.
Yeah,
She always gets the
Sarah
spotlight.
Janet gets. This is a Sarah Janet fan account.
It is.
honestly.
My next one on my list is Maybe in Another Life by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This author has like blown up over the past couple years, but not for this book. And I really feel like more people should read this book. It was incredible. I never know how to describe it to people, but the best way I can is it starts out one way, and then one part of the book is if she chose one thing, and the next part of the book is if she chose the other. Am I like describing that right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna backpack off.
Because this is also on her list. Yeah.
It literally is the next one.
Yeah.
On my list. So basically, it's like she gets to a certain point in the book, and it's basically like either stay at a certain place that night with a friend or leave and go home with a different friend. And at that point, she makes that decision, and the book breaks off in two different directions based on which decision she makes.
And so you get to see how her life would have played out either way. And I don't want to spoil anything, but I really love that the overall message is that like your life can go two different ways and both ways can be okay. Like I love that
that's
it
a nice
didn't.
message.
Yeah, I love that it didn't like hone in on the fact that like your things are gonna go one way no matter what, and it didn't. It was her life was very different, but it was okay either way. And I love that.
I did too.
I haven't read any of her books.
This is the one you should start with.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay, I will, because like I know everyone's like all hype about what is it, the 7 Husbands of Evelyn.
I've read
Hugo?
that one. I've read.
I have no
the-
desire to read that one. Actually, it doesn't sound like something I would like, but
The Daisy one. I've read that one. I've read the Malibu Rising, and I've read this one. And this one is my favorite.
Okay, I'll start with that one. That'll be my goal for next year then.
I also told my grandma to read this one, and she loved it as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Universal for all ages.
Yeah, and we don't really have the same taste in books, and so I was surprised she liked it, but she liked it a lot.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
So my next one's technically an arc. It doesn't actually come out until February.
Okay, bragging.
I know, right? And it's the Dark Olympus book, number 4, Radiant Sin by Katie Robert. 5 stars. I did not like Wicked Beauty, but this one just brought it back.
No, you did not.
I did not like Wicked Beauty at all. Radiant Sin, it reads like a very spicy game of Clue.
Love.
It's so much fun. I'm so excited to have like a physical
can't
copy,
wait.
and I just can't wait for everyone else to read it because
I'm
I'm
not
like
gonna
I'm just
lie, I can't
holding my
wait.
tongue because you know you already want to know so much about certain characters, and this book just solidified. I need to know more
I can't
about
wait.
Hermes.
I cannot wait.
I need to know, and so I'm excited to have my hands on
You
a
haven't-
physical copy.
You haven't read Wicked Beauty yet, have you? No, you've only done
That's the third one, right?
Yeah, I'm curious to see what you think because I did not like it at all.
But you did.
Yeah. Yeah. Not as much as Electric
That's
Idol.
the poly
Yeah, Electric-
relationship.
Yeah. I think they focus too much on that and not enough
on the trial.
the trials.
I thought it.
Yeah. I liked Electric Idol.
I loved Electric Idol. I think
did
it's
too.
still my favorite, but Radiant Sun is very close. It was so good.
My next one is also a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. It's One True Loves. This is another one I don't hear a lot of people talk about, but this is about a woman who you get to watch her like fall in love with this man, and they get married, and they have like this honestly really beautiful and like simple life together. And he is a travel photographer, and one day the plane that he's on crashes, and he is never recovered. And so after a few years, she moves on, and she actually falls in love again with a different man, and they have a beautiful relationship, and then her husband comes back.
Okay.
I love
Yeah.
stories like this.
And so you
The drama.
have to, but it's not though. That's the thing. That's why I loved it so much, is because like she like grapples with who she was and who she is now, and you know what, and also like I don't want to spoil anything, but her husband went through a lot to get back, and who he is now, and it's told in like past tense, like her first meeting her husband, and also her first meeting the other man that she ends up falling in love with, because she meets them both in high school. And it's honestly a really cool book. I really liked it.
I've always wanted to write one like this.
Yeah. I loved it.
Please do. Because that actually sounds really good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna have to pick that one up too.
You guys can borrow this one too.
Bet.
Yeah.
So the next one on my list is None of This Rocks by Joe Troman. Not surprising at all. This was a really, really fantastically written memoir from the lead guitarist and co-founder of Fall Out Boy. I really loved the way that this was written, and the humor in it, and the reality behind it. It was just a 5-star read for me, which just made it, you know, even more special when I actually got to go and meet him, which was just highlight of my life. You know, can die happy. One member of Fall Out Boy met under my belt. I can go peacefully now. So, I mean, just of course that book was gonna top my list this year.
Of course.
Why not?
Exactly. My next one I actually just read like a couple days ago. It's Stolen Tongues by Felix Blackwell. It's a very short horror story. It's very good. I gave it 4 out of 5. My only issue is that the main character is Felix himself. It's very weird, and I didn't realize it until I finished the book, because I don't ever look at the author's names, because I'm a terrible person. But like the whole time, the main character's name is Felix Blackwell. But it was really good. I don't really know how to describe it.
So, wait, that's the author and that's the main character?
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little uncomfy.
It is.
Okay.
And I don't know if he does that for all of his books or if it's just this one. But a couple, essentially, they go up to a cabin for like a romantic getaway, and they start hearing things out in the woods, and they're like snowed in, and one thing leads to another, and it's the whole duration of them being at the cabin, and then when they go home, and how it continues once they get home. It's very creepy, very good. I enjoyed it very much. I don't know if I'll read any more of his stuff, but Giselle actually had read this, and she gave it 4 stars, and she was raving about it, and I was like, oh well, it's on Kindle Unlimited. So
I've been loving horror short stories, so I literally just added that to Goodreats.
Please, let me know what you think, because I really enjoyed it. Like I said, like my only complaint was the author insert, which go off.
Yeah.
Treat yourself,
It's
I
your
guess.
book. Yeah.
Treat yourself.
Yeah.
It's your book, do you?
Yeah. My next one is probably of no surprise, because if we don't give a platform to Sarah J. Maas, we surely do give a platform to Colleen Hoover. As does everybody. She has blown up over the past like year or two, as she should. But
she should.
I want it to be known that we're OG fans. I always like to point that out. Anyway, the next one on my list is It Starts With Us. I feel like when this was first announced, I was excited because I thought that it was a prequel. Right?
Yeah.
It makes sense because, you know, it starts with us. It
I also
comes before it ends
Even
with
the
us.
signage was
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah. It was not a prequel, it was a sequel, which then disappointed me, and I wasn't as excited about it, but it proved me wrong. I ended up really loving it. Atlas and Lily Forever, they're like one of my all-time favorite book couples. This was so healing to read about, and I don't typically love when like a book is written as a standalone and then they later decide to write a sequel. It sometimes feels like it's just like right, yeah. And it ends with us was complete to me. I didn't feel like I needed anything more, but I was proven wrong, and I ended up really liking it. And now I truly don't need it anymore. So I hope she doesn't write another sequel. I don't think she will. But it's very complete to me. I love seeing what happened with these characters and some new characters as well. It was great. I loved it.
I still haven't read It Ends With Us.
You should.
You need to.
I'm one of the few people in the world, I think.
Yeah.
I've read Verity and I've read Layla. Those are the only two. Unpopular opinion. I also love Layla.
Yeah.
So speaking of creepy things, the next one on my list is Baby Teeth. I loved this book. So creepy. It's definitely, it has feelings of like orphan in it, and a little bit of like, we need to talk about Kevin. There's a little girl, a daughter, who does not speak, and she definitely favors the father over the mother. And she definitely starts to kind of act out a little bit, doing some weird stuff. And then she starts to say a few things. But it's not just like random words, it's like full sentences with a French accent.
Okay.
Only to the mom. So anyway, his kid pretty much does it when no one else is around. It's just mom. So mom looks kind of like a crazy person, but it's really just this creepy little child. So, you know, super spooky.
The French accent is still
It's like, yeah, with it.
It's just, it's so bizarre, but really crazy.
I have it downloaded because you've been raving about it.
I'm telling you, it's so good, and just got it's just got my mind spinning still like months later.
It reminds me a lot of my next read, which was The Perfect Child by Lucinda Berry.
Oh, I had that one downloaded.
It reminds me, again, it's a child.
A creepy child always
creepy
gets
child.
me.
I know. They're a married couple and they are trying to adopt, and it's falling through. They're both doctors, and they bring in this little girl who is so malnourished and just like so beaten up that they think she's a lot younger than she is. And once she, you know, they do all the tests and stuff, she's actually older. She can barely talk. They don't know where she came from. They just found her. And she also favors the dad. And they end up adopting her, and it just goes downhill from there. She targets the mom to the point where the mom thinks she's going crazy. The child's a demon. Like, I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. My only issue was that the ending didn't feel like an ending. It was one of those, and they were walking to the door, and nothing.
This ending was like,
yeah, so that was my only issue with The Perfect Child. So if Baby Teeth is similar to this and has an actual ending, I think I will enjoy that one a lot more.
it has an ending. And this was my thing, like, because like same thing with that one with like Orphan, is that this was like an adoption type thing.
Yep.
This was their kid, legit their kid.
That's terrifying.
So there was no other explanation for
Yes.
Like we were talking about
The
like,
French
the whole like
accent.
nurture versus nature
Mhm.
thing.
yeah,
The French accent.
exactly.
I'm assuming they're not French.
They're not.
Oui.
Baguette.
Not baguette. My next one is one that I've definitely talked about. It's Every Heart a Doorway by Shannon McGuire. Is that how you say it? Sure. I bought this book on a whim when I was in Seattle back in like February or March. Just because I was at a bookstore and I saw it and it sounded interesting, and I am so happy I got it because I ended up really loving it. It is about a home for troubled children, but all of these children have experienced the same sorts of things, and the person who runs the home also experienced it. So it's like a place where they can go where they can like be heard, but you hear about all these different experiences that they've had, like kind of creepy experiences, and you end up really rooting for all the characters. And it's just honestly like a really cool book. I've never read anything quite like it. It's a very different premise, and the execution was really great. I liked it a lot.
I've never heard of that one.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked about it a couple times on the channel.
Yeah,
I don't watch
in the
it.
wrap up. I think in your wrap up, and then like another one where
Yeah.
we did. I don't remember what the other video was, but I know you've talked about it at least twice.
Yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't watch her videos. She's not
I'm just the
She's
social
not a
media
fan.
manager.
Yeah, she just does her TikToks.
Yeah, that's it.
She's not your number one fan or anything.
No,
She's not the
absolutely
leader of my
not.
fan club.
No, absolutely not.
Not at all. The next one on my list is, it's definitely going to come as no surprise, but The Comic-Con by D. Lacassi. So, I absolutely love this book. I'm sure you guys know this by now. I forgot his name. Birdie and...
This is my life. I never remember anybody's name.
Don't ask me.
It's something with an A. It's,
Well, while she looks that up, ironically, that was also my next pick, was the Comic-Con. Chasity said it was so good that I had to read it, like, immediately after you did.
yeah.
No, did I finish it before you did?
No.
No, okay, you did.
But I was bugging you.
Yeah.
I was really, really bugging you.
And
Atticus. I knew it's...
it started with an A.
Yeah. Atticus and Birdie. I absolutely love them.
Flew through it so quickly. It's so cute.
So good.
It's so good. Highly recommend.
Especially because you are a Marvel girly.
You are. You
I
will
know.
really enjoy
I do
it.
need to read it.
Like,
it's on my
such a-
list.
Oh, it's just...
I had just read.
It's on my list of like $600 books.
Yes, but
Yeah.
move it up. Move it
I
up.
had just read the Love Con when you started reading the
Yes!
Comic Con, and I really enjoyed the Love Con, but I felt like it was missing something. So when I read the Comic Con, it just hit that sweet spot.
Yes.
It just hit it, and it was perfect, and I love it, and I've recommended it to so many of my friends.
I just felt like
So good.
it was the perfect book for like, for me, for like my little nerd heart
It is.
and my little like, I just felt like it was so perfect. I loved it.
100%, I agree. Hannah, you should read it.
Okay, will do.
Bet.
My next one is The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I finally read this one this year. It is one of the most beautiful books that I've ever read. I ended up really falling in love with this author and the way that she writes, and the story was just stunning. We talked a lot about how you were kind of let down because you had known, you obviously knew how the story ended. I also knew how the story ended, and I don't feel like it needed to be shocking for it to like still really hit me the way that it did. Very, very, very few times in my life have I like cried while reading a book, and I cried while reading this book. It was just like that beautiful, and like even though I knew how it ended, I like really was like aching for it to not end that way. And I really loved it. It's like one that I recommend to pretty much everybody because I think that a lot of people can enjoy it.
I really, really like her writing.
I agree.
I've never seen anybody write like she does. And I mean, I'm sure that it probably exists. It's not like I've read every book ever, but like
True.
this is the first time I've ever
Full
experienced
taste.
somebody writing this way, where it's like almost like lyrical.
It
but
is.
not,
It is, yeah.
It's very reminiscent
Yeah.
of the Greek, the tale she's
Yes.
telling.
Yeah.
It's,
Yeah.
And it works.
And it's a really great retelling. Yeah.
I haven't read Song of Achilles, but I did read Circe and the new one.
Galatea? Is that how you
one.
say it?
Yep, sure. Sounds good to me.
I really, really liked that one.
I just minored in classical cultures. I don't know how to pronounce anything.
Yeah.
But
I know how to read it, like on
Yeah.
that page, and think how it is.
yeah.
Maybe
I can
that's how it's
imagine it, you know?
Well,
Wait.
my last one is Pieces of Her by Karen Slaughter. No surprise there. I raved and raved and raved about this book, and will continue recommending this book to every single person that asks me for a psychological thriller. Because it's so good. It's so, so good.
Isn't that the one that they made a show about?
Yes. And the book is better.
Isn't it
Would you
always?
recommend reading the book before seeing the show?
Absolutely.
Okay.
There's so much more in the book, and I mean the show's okay,
Do you
but
think-
I feel like they took a bulk of why the story happens, like why the main person does a majority of what she does. They took a lot of the why out,
Okay.
and that to me was such an important part. The motive behind why she's doing it did not make sense in the show. You needed to see the extent of it,
Okay.
and it was not shown very well in the show.
Okay.
In the book, I was like, fuck yes. absolutely. You need to do A, B, C, and D. Absolutely, 100% behind you. You needed to do that. In the show, if somebody was just watching the show, they'd be like, seriously? That's a little much. Like, you're overreacting.
Okay.
Kind of thing. Without trying to spoil anything for the plot. But, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it was an okay show, but I just feel like the ending, like the big reveal, is just going to be kind of a letdown.
It doesn't like hit as hard.
Yeah, it doesn't hit as hard.
Okay, that makes sense. I don't have any more.
Oh, okay. I guess that was
It's
your last
because
one?
I think it's because we ended up sharing so many.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my last one on my favorite reads is the Madeline Miller that we were just talking about. Galatea, I think is how you say it.
Yep.
I think
We all
so.
three read it this year.
Yes. We all three read it recently because it just came
Yeah.
out not that long ago. Stunning.
Really?
Stunning. I was not at all familiar with the story before I had read it.
Wasn't either.
Yeah. And it was honestly like, it was like I just found myself like, oh my god, this is so beautiful. Like, it's just such a beautiful
It is.
story.
I will say, Chasity, when we got it, it was a strict on sale at work. And Chasity and I did a flip through, and we only saw a little bit of it, and it was, we had a very different idea of what it was going to be going into it.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's about and it's based on mythology, but it's about like this woman who was once made of stone, and her husband is an artist, and he crafted her and like brought her to life, and then it was her story after that, and they have a son together, and he continues to craft these women, and he like, and I feel like it has deeper meanings though.
For sure.
You know how women are like made out to be crazy because she was like institutionalized, and it was a whole and it's a short story. I read it pretty quickly. It's a really quick read, and it was just very beautiful.
It was.
Yeah.
I agree.
Do we want to get into our least favorites, Queen?
Sure.
What's your first least favorite? These are our least favorite reads of 2022. I see your first one, I'm sorry.
So first of all, I just want to clarify. We're doing this reading challenge in December. And we didn't do the page limit rules.
Not you justifying this
I'm
one.
justifying it, okay? So it was just amount of books. So naturally, when I saw this on TikTok, being the person I am to take bullets for everybody else.
It's so selfless, honestly.
Honestly, I read Groped by the Grinch.
Repeat that title one more time.
Groped by the Grinch. You know, Dr. Seuss, the Grinch. By Melanie Nix. First of all, hi
Don't
Melanie.
preface that with Dr. Seuss.
And like groped, like
Just
groped.
hold on. I just want to speak directly to Melanie Nix real fast.
Okay.
What the fuck is wrong with you? I just want to know. This is like book 2 out of like 4. The first one's like Reindeer Man, and the third one's like the elves. Second of all, the cover for that one is gnomes.
There
Get your
are
facts
some
straight.
things that should just be left alone.
I want to know the thought process behind like
Sis, first of
deciding
all,
to write this on paper and publish it.
the main character's name is Holly Jolly.
I forgot about that detail. I didn't read this book, but I don't
You
need
know
to
all about it.
because I've heard about it.
I don't know how in depth you guys want me to go, but the Grinch is hung.
Apparently.
Oh.
I could have lived my entire life without hearing that.
So anyway, I gave it 1 star. It was real short. It was like 18 pages. It's not good. This is not good. Anyway, I made everyone else. I try to make everybody else read it though.
I refuse.
Giselle read it. I think Samara read it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my first one.
Okay. My one of my least favorite reads of 2022 was The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. I think I DNF'd this.
I DNF'd it.
It was bad. It was really bad. There was very little plot. The characters were like making very out of character decisions, and I just didn't like it. I couldn't get through it, and that means it's pretty bad because I can usually get through a book even if it's not my favorite. I had very mixed emotions about From Blood and Ash, but I did move on to the second one, and I liked the second one more than the first. So I thought that was promising. This one was terrible. This one was really bad. I cannot see myself ever finishing it, nor picking up another one of her books. She just has like a very her books read like fan fiction.
They
And
do.
I don't think that that's necessarily always wrong, but it was wrong in this context.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was one of my least favorite reads. Needless
No,
to say, I
we
will
loved
not
it.
be continuing with her books or this series. We had a good run. The second one wasn't bad, but this is it for me.
Where you part ways.
Yeah,
Can we just talk about how pretty she's sitting right now?
she's stunning. Honestly, what a gorgeous queen with
Honestly,
her little bandana.
The
Is that from
best
Holly?
guest.
My first honorable mention here is Desperate Measures, the first in the Wicked Villains series by Katie Robert.
Which we have talked about before.
Is
Listen,
it Katie
Queen.
Robert or Katie Roberts?
It's Robert.
Robert.
I have been saying Roberts.
So have I, and I feel like an asshole.
So Katie Robert, I do like some of her books. You know, I am a big fan of, what is it, Dark Olympus series?
She's very hit or miss.
Do
She is.
like that series a lot. Desperate Measures was not it for me. It was not. I really struggled to get through this one. I really thought Wicked Villains, bro, that's for me. That's where I'm at. No. It was not. This book had like very little plot. Very, very little plot. All smut. Just all smut. Which like, it's cool.
If that's what you know going into it.
Yeah, well, go on with your bad self and you smut, but like, make it make sense. Like, it was just not good.
I think we talked about this
And
last
there's
October.
the safe word, okay? She's got a safe word, and there's this whole safe word throughout the whole book, which is Raja, by the way, which drives me fucking crazy, okay? But that's my own personal thing. Whatever, you do you. We don't find out why that's her safe word, or how that came about, how they even established that she had a safe word, or how this even came about. To be like, they were not in a sexual relationship to begin with in the book, so how did it come about that she even needed a safe word? So that bothers me to this day. No, that just bothers me. So it gets the #1 spot.
I'm gonna piggyback off you because I also put a book from that series. Number 5, The Sea Witch, which is Ursula, Eric, and Ariel.
No.
Yeah, but their names Ursa, Ulrich,
No.
and Zuriel.
Really set up.
Hey.
She also had feelings about this one.
Hey, yeah. First of all, I want you to know I finished the whole series.
It's funny because you guys don't like this series. Like, I feel like
I
anytime...
liked an unworthy, no,
A worthy opponent. Yes, that was the best one.
But, like, for the most part, the general consensus is that you haven't enjoyed the series, but you guys keep reading them.
I finished them, deadass.
I have not. I've gotten to a worthy opponent.
You got to the best one. You can stop now.
Yeah. What? That's
It
number
goes
what,
downhill.
4?
That's 3. Desperate
Oh.
Measures, and then Learn My Lesson, which is the Meg, Hercules, and
Well, that's
Hades.
where I
Worthy
wanted to go
opponent.
because I wanted
It's
to find
Hook
out.
and Tinkerbell. No, sis, it's so good.
Listen,
It's
I
real
wanted.
good.
I read the second one because I wanted to know
The
what
tie-in.
Hades that was
Yeah, so in case you guys don't know,
from Neon Gods.
Wicked Villains ties into Neon Gods.
Which,
just slightly.
Just so you know, it does tie in because
There's a
that's
couple
where we
different.
find out where Hercules ties in.
And it also ties into the Sea Witch, because Zuriel is from Olympus.
Okay.
Her dad, Triton, works for Poseidon.
I just have to know where these tie-ins are. That's why I'm reading it.
I can just...
Yeah.
You guys can just tell me.
Yeah,
Bet.
I will.
Anyway, I was complaining about the Sea Witch. So, I hated every character. First of all, I hated every single one of them. Second of all, Zuriel is the one that I hated the least, and she had no reason to remain with them. First of all, Katie Robert loves auctions.
She does.
She loves auctions, so there was a virginity auction
Oh, no.
for Zuriel's virginity.
I don't love that.
I don't know if I can handle that.
She signed up for it, guys, so like it's consensual. But anyway,
Instead of her voice, she's
so after
losing her virginity.
yep.
That's a little much.
So after the whole contract bullshit's done or whatever, and they're like, oh, we'll let her leave even though we love her. She comes back. Why? why she doesn't belong. She's not like them. Because, you know, like, you've read them. They're all assholes in some sense. Like, every single one of them. She's, like, the most innocent, childlike person. And they're like, no, you're perfect. You can stay. Anyway, I hated it. It sucked. I hated the Beast also. So, yeah.
So maybe don't read that series.
I mean, do it if it's smut for smut. Like, that's the best way to describe it. Like, there's bits and hints of plot, and if you want the tie-in to Neon Gods, you can read that. And then her other series, I don't even know what it is. The first book's like Abel or something, also ties into that.
Sabin Valley or something like
yes, that ties in because Maleficent is from that area.
I don't like what they did there. I do not like Malone. I do not like Malone.
I hated Malone. I hated her. But I love Aurora. She's great. Love her. 10 out of 10.
How dare you.
But yeah, so only read it if you're like there for the smut for smut or the tie-ins. Which is honestly, at this point, I'm just finishing the Katie Robert collection. So.
Well, my, and I can confidently say this was the worst read for 2022 for me, was Haunting Adeline. Okay, let me preface this by saying that we did a reading challenge in December where, like, so if I hadn't already spent so much time on this book, I would have never finished it. But I couldn't justify not finishing it because I was already like halfway through. This was bad. Like, and I'm not, like, I actively disliked it. It wasn't like I was just like bored and not getting into it. This was a terrible book. The writing was bad. The characters are terrible. What happens is terrible. And maybe, I'll be the first to admit that maybe super dark romance is not for me. But there is so much that happens in this book that I can just not for the life of me understand. Like, it's so hard for me to understand the character's decision.
We gave it the same, we both read it. We gave it the same rating, but two different sides of that rating. Yeah. Because you gave it 3 stars and I gave it 3 stars.
I didn't rate it at all. I would give it, because I want to give it 0 stars.
It said you had to give it a 3 when I rated it.
No,
right?
Hooked was what we rated the same.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah. I didn't rate Haunting Adeline because I literally want to give it 0 stars, so I just didn't give it anything. It was really, really bad. They're like major trigger warnings. Please look them up before you start reading this book.
Absolutely.
He literally stalks her. Like, and I'm not like, breaks into her house, hides in her closet, disables her security system, sets cameras up in her house, including in her bathroom. He rapes her with a gun. Loaded gun, cocks it while he's doing it. And that's just like, that's like in the first third of the book.
Yeah.
Like, that's just scratching the surface. He does something where he works with people to like stop sex trafficking.
He like runs his own business,
but he works with the FBI sometimes, as if that would ever be, as if the FBI would ever work with like a vigilante. That's never really explained, but it's really just, and then of course she ends up like falling for him because that's the whole premise of the book. And it happens so quickly, and that's what's weird.
Well, and her thing is like she gets off on fear, so having a stalker is like prime time for her. Like, she hates him and she's scared of him, but also when he rapes her with a gun, she gets off on it because she's like, ooh, you know what I mean?
But
like,
his whole thing is that he wants to help stop people from being exploited,
and yet he does it to her, and they even talk about it.
It's weird.
They even have a conversation, and she's like, "What you know, you're doing that, but then you're doing this to me," and he's like, "Yeah, I know. You're special. You're the first one ever."
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, okay. Let me just move on past it." Like,
right?
No.
And then it's also like the only like semi interesting thing to me was like also like this sort of murder mystery thing. She's also trying to uncover what happened to her grandma way back in the day, who also had a stalker that she fell in love with, by the way. Apparently the whole family needed therapy. But they just, the generational trauma, it's astounding. And by the end of it, I just didn't give a shit. I didn't care about her grandma. I didn't care about her. I just wanted to get through the book. And it ended on like a twist. I think you're supposed to be like, I have to read the, I don't fucking care. For all I care, they could both die. I literally couldn't give less of a shit.
Also,
it was terrible.
The murder mystery is so fucking obvious.
Right.
The whole time you're like, who did it? And it's like,
and I was
right
remember
there
thinking,
in
like,
front of you.
There's no way I've guessed it this quickly.
Yes, they're like, you're like waiting for the like, oh, there's probably a twist. No, there's no fucking twist.
No
it's
twist.
Right there in front of you.
It's just bad. It's just bad writing. It's bad planning.
No, I thought it was written well.
I don't feel like it was written well.
Listen, if Jen writes well, then I think she writes fine.
I don't think Jen writes well either.
Well, she doesn't have an editor either.
Yeah.
There's also some tea going on with Haunting Adeline right now, where she has to republish it.
I just wish it would fall off the face of the earth. Like 0 out of 10, don't recommend, don't pick it up. If you do, please read the trigger warnings.
Yes.
But honestly, please don't pick it
Do
up.
not
Just
go
don't
into
read
it blind. Absolutely do not. Because there are so many fucked up things.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna stop talking because I could literally go on and on about how much I hated that book. But
My last one is no surprise. Y'all have heard me talk about this one. I just played Barbarians. I didn't get very far. I only made it halfway through this one.
And here's why I think it's
feel
funny
like
is because
there's like
she
not a
loved
lot for me to go on about. After following that up, there's just not a lot for me to complain about in this now.
She doesn't
But
get raped
she
with a gun.
does. Yeah.
She loves this. She loves Ice Cream
Okay,
Barbarian.
love is that's a hard word, okay? I very much enjoyed it. It was very fun. It was very stupid.
She's read, how many in the series have you read?
10?
Exactly.
There's 22, I've read 10.
Exactly.
Not including the novellas, because there are novellas.
Oh,
for,
that's
like,
fun. There are novellas too.
Yeah,
They remind me of the
but
people from
I'm-
Avatar.
But I've also,
I hate you.
but we've had the discussion of why I don't like them.
Yes, we have
Or
had,
this specific one and why
Yeah.
I couldn't get into it.
Georgie's fucking stupid. She's fucking stupid.
She's stupid. And
I very much think that you would like the second one better.
But I feel like we established that she wouldn't when you guys were talking earlier. Because one of her biggest issues
Is that they couldn't talk.
Yeah.
Okay, but the issue isn't that they can't talk. He just pretends like he can't talk.
So stupid.
And there's literally, I want you to know, there's a whole scene. Because you know they get the cootie and the cootie makes them horny.
I forgot about this.
The cootie makes them horny on Maine for each other.
Yeah.
So there's a whole scene and it like keeps going until you have to like get relief. There's a whole scene where she's like talking to him and she's like, you don't even know what I'm fucking saying, as she's like masturbating, and he's just watching her like, I know everything you're saying to me right now, dude, and this is the hottest shit ever. He kidnaps her at the end of the book, of the first book. Anyway, my favorite couple is actually not published yet, like in physical form, so it's fine.
This is great.
You just bring me on more often for hot takes.
I'm not familiar with the series. I've not read it.
Please read the first
No, that's okay.
I'll let you borrow it.
It's alright. You can keep that.
Bring me on for more hot takes in the future, guys.
You're never coming back. I'm joking.
See you next video.
Literally.
Okay. That's what we have for you today. Comment down below and let us know what your favorite reads were of this year. And make sure you hit that like button and subscribe and turn on that notification bell so you know when we post next. Bye!